Stephen Abbott sat in the darkened cinema and stole a quick glance at his girlfriend's face, illuminated by the cinemascope screen. He was bored with the film, partly because the big craggy cowboy on screen was now too old to act like Superman, and partly because he wasn't wearing his glasses. He had another problem too. He wanted to go to the toilet. He wasn't desperate yet, but the thought of not being able to go was steadily making it worse, and he couldn't go because he didn't have his glasses. And without his glasses, he'd never find his way back to his seat. He shifted uncomfortably. He reached his arm around her shoulders, and she snuggled against him, one of her hands resting on his thigh. He kissed her cheek softly, and then her lip hard as she turned her head towards him. He drew his trembling and cautious fingers to the center of buttons of her silky blouse, and poked a finger through, feeling her warm flesh. Suddenly she screamed and leapt to her feet, pulling his arm up with her. "Something bit me! There's something on the floor! It bit my leg!" A large, dark shape scuttled underneath the seat. Vicky began to pound her feet hysterically up and down on the floor. Stephen grabbed her shoulders and tried to calm her down as the house lights came on. Rats were flowing down the aisles, branching off through the rows of seats, pouring over the tops, leaping onto the panicked crowd. Many people were in the aisles now, their panic pressing them together in the confined space, preventing their use of speed as a means of escape. The doors were blocked with scrambling bodies, and those that managed to get through were being chased into the foyer by the vermin. An elderly couple nearby clung together in a last desperate embrace, the rats biting at their feet and their legs, finally bringing them down to their knees. Another man sat rigid in his seat, his eyes on the screen, as if still watching the film, his hands clenching the seat arms. A rat sat on his lap, gnawing a hole into his stomach. The rats were on Stephen in an instant, swarming his body with their own foul-smelling forms, biting into him, pushing each other aside to get at his flesh. His arms beat against them, growing weaker and weaker with every effort, until finally he laid them across his face for protection, allowing the creatures to gorge themselves on his body. Raising one arm from his eye, he stared uncomprehendingly up at the huge coloured screen above him. His eyes read the words, and his voice spoke them faintly, but his brain did not understand. He whispered, "The end."